Good evening. Welcome to another session on this interesting platform. I say interesting because many people have said so. Why is it interesting? Because it is a platform to share ideas, insights, and knowledge where it exists about ideas. So this is an ideas platform. So I hope we can journey together on the interesting topic dealing with government. We all think we know what government is, and those who purport to know more often are found wanting in terms of understanding the true nature of government. What is the nature of government? What is and ought to be the relationship between men and the idea of government? I use the word idea of government deliberately because many of us think we know what government is and what the relationship is between men and government, when the truth may lie elsewhere. The genius of ideas. What is the place of ideas in the affairs of men? What is the basis on which all the things we see in life come into fruition? If you care to think about it critically and consciously, you may find that everything of value starts with an idea. That idea is located in the mind of the individual, not individuals. Although we may wish to act in a collective manner, in truth and fact, ideas are deposited in the mind of the individual, not individuals. Yet all too often we use the plural to describe this power of ideas and the expression of ideas. Even the city itself is built out of ideas. Welcome, Andrew, Beta Kurenji, Tozoona Jacob Maforo, Tafadzwa Chimbambu, and Oscar Tendere. Tafadzwa Chimbambu says, sorry, I just logged in. What is he talking about? I guess you're talking to me. If you look at the top, you see the topic is about the idea of government and what is the relationship between government and men. Mambi Madaweni, good evening. How are you today? And what is this thing we call government? How do you think it came into the affairs of men? Just imagine 1 second, there was no government. The next second, there is government. I also say the power of ideas battling each other in motion. Because we often want to play the man, not the ideas, to find each other in the arena of ideas. We confuse ideas with the reality that results from ideas. So if we were to step back and just examine this idea called government. Good evening, Russ Allen. What is it? What is its potency? What is its importance? Before even we look at who must be in government, we must have a better appreciation of the origin of government in the affairs of men. Does it occur to you that government, as we know it today, did not come from another planet, was not part of creation? Government is a consequence of human thinking, human organization, human way of arranging the order that was created outside humanity. Good evening, Swithan Pasi Pamire. Good evening, Joel Dury. And James Moyo. You say Mashingo Oye. We are talking about government, not Mashingo. But I guess we can't take the village of birth out of us. And we can't even stop or pause to think about ideas before we speak of people. Imagine a mansion. It's just an idea. It arises out of an idea. How many bedrooms should I have? How many bathrooms should I have? What about the lounge? What about the kitchen? What about the bedroom? If you've not thought about it, then it's a futile exercise for you to then imagine that mansion, that house, that dwelling. Even a car is an idea. Matabisi Bebe, good evening. We are talking about the power of ideas. Even life itself is an idea. Its reality is founded in us being networked, in us being organized into networks. So what you may call death is actually not death. Because if we don't know the person who has lost life, how would that experience visit your mind for it to be real? We are 7.3 billion people. And there's no way that you would know 7.3 billion people, even if you tried. Then imagine government. How many people want government to exist so that it can do something for them? Matabisi Bebe says, I like the way you are putting things together. Thank you. So what is this thing called government? Where is the wisdom and understanding of government to be found? In social media, where is the address, the IP address? Welcome, Samuel Mungaze. Where are we to find this intellectual property about this idea that occupies most of the time that people actually spend talking about it, not talking about themselves? They want to know who should be in government, yet they don't know what the purpose of government is and what its true nature is or ought to be. Yet they have so much opinion about who should be in this idea called government. Isn't it amazing that we want government to exist so much? We want political parties to exist so much that we are not prepared to invest in understanding what these animals are. And Mambi Madaweni says, government is usually run by people running a country. But every government is different and every government has different ideas. Now we are importing an idea from Mambi that government actually exists and is run. What is this running? Because we often use this running idea and import it into the affairs of government. But nobody tells me what running is. I know when a person is running, what that means. But how is it that we have imported the idea of running into government, which itself is an idea? How can an idea run if it can at all? Then you go on to say every government is different. I guess it may be a chameleon that changes colors. What kind of animal is this that will be different? Because the idea can never know of borders. An idea remains what it is wherever you are. Because it is men who give life to dreams. But dreams on their own have no relationship with reality. They end as a dream. It's like all the great prophets. They will never create currency as we know it. I think Zimbabwe will welcome most prophets to maybe to pray for them so that the money in the bank can leave the bank without attracting any cost. This is your own money. But up to now, all the great prophets, all the great pastors, they will take the little that you have, but actually will not be able to help you create value where there is no value, even when it's trapped into the alleyways or the cul-de-sacs created by men. You can't uplift it. Then, and you say government is different ideas. This government having ideas itself is something that we need to understand. What do you mean that government can actually have a mind of its own, independent of the people who are like you and me, who are limited in our own understanding of what reality is and what the perimeter of reality is, the circumference of reality is? Then you go on to say African governments are different, though. Where does government acquire character? What kind of idea would then need to have this personality and character called African? Then you go on to say, and even Europeans want too. How does a government acquire the character and personality of natural persons. Can you aggregate oranges and get one orange? Aggregate people's minds and get one mind? Is it possible? So some of the people who are the founding fathers of republicanism, of whatever ideas that we then tend to adopt, were thinkers. First, they had to think. That is where we are often found wanting. It is not just people born and bred and who are living in Africa who often get this idea wrong. But we often associate Africans with this particular species of humanity, as if Africans are not human. We then import this idea that the word government should be revisited. By who? Because it is us humans who need government to secure the rights that are given outside government. The right to life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. Those ideas are given outside the perimeter, the four corners of government. Timothy Mamborusike, welcome. Milton Stolle, welcome. Joseph Ruro, welcome. Tendai Timothy Zmunya, welcome. Gigi, following. You are all welcome. Mambi says, by all of us, if we get the freedom to do so, the idea of freedom itself, Mambi, has to be understood. What is freedom? We often talk of freedom as if there's an address where freedom exists. Norman Gwaze, welcome. Nobel Chawira, welcome, Mudara. You are saying Mudara meaning me. So I think when next time I come next to President Mugabe, I may be Mudara. Then say, Madara, stand up. Then I'm not sure whether I should stand up because Nobet has already called me Mudara. What about me? Am I welcome, say? Ruramai Mash, you are welcome. Everybody is welcome. This is an arena where ideas can be shared. Ras Alan, government is a concept by people to control social and economic affairs of geographic entities we call nation. Yes, Ras, you are introducing another idea called control. Another idea saying that social and economic affairs can be controlled. That's fundamental. Let's invest in those ideas and concepts, because sometimes we use them without thinking about what we are saying. No, but he says that is a sign of respect. No, I was just joking. No, but take it easy. It was just to welcome you to this battle of ideas, where age has nothing to do with the idea. Let ideas respect each other than the idea to be associated with someone's age. I could be 80 years old, but my mind could be 10 years old. So thinking and age need not be the same. History is pregnant with a lot of young people having the power to dream and act on their dreams. So let's not respect age, but salute ideas that can be converted into some solutions to human problems. Because some of us have big ideas, but we are not able to convert ideas into products, solutions that give life a different meaning. Then, yes, it's an idea that can be shaped to meet the needs of the people. It's self-government. Can it meet the needs of anybody? Can I get a government to have the power of causation and agency? If I leave this remote control where it is, I'll find it where it is, where I've left it. But human beings are special. They think, they dream, and they create things that are already created, but find a way of innovating it into something of use and of value to men. It is that idea that to unlock the human potential. But when a human being claims the potential created outside him, it's no longer business as usual. Because who would have a better claim of that which has already been provided common to all? Then your reflections are a good step towards making governments behave better in order to meet people's needs. Again, Ras, you are saying the government must meet something, must have an obligation. How can this idea have obligations? Or it is men you are confusing with the idea of government? Your other option is to be part of a government and steer it in the right direction. Where would this government want to go to? Where would this government want to go to? Then Mambi said, freedom is when we can all express our freedom of speech, actions, anything without fear of being oppressed or persecuted. Mambi, the idea of oppression itself is an idea worth contesting. What is oppression? When the person is oppressing you, and are they not giving up freedom for them to be able to oppress you? For me to persecute something, I must give up something for me to achieve it. I'm talking in terms of Zimbabwe. If I wanted to oppress people, where would I start? Just the idea of persecuting and oppressing. Because we can only oppress something that is oppressible, if that is a term. If I were to visit Zimbabwe today, I wouldn't say things I'm saying here. I'll be scared. Yes, that is your fear. But is that reality of fear or reality of life? Or you are imposing your own idea of fear on others? Then Jeremiah Matsikiti, those with the ideas have no power. Those in power have no ideas. Then we need to investigate this idea called power. Because I am of the view that there is pervasive illiteracy about this idea of power. Imagine with a citizenship or even a civic university that can tell us what is power, what is not power, and how does power invade the affairs of men. Victor Songore says, I'm still trying to figure out what is being talked about. Please read at the top. It says clearly what this enterprise is all about. I read for you, Victor, if you can't read it. What is the nature of government? What is and ought to be the relation between men and the idea of government? Then it says the genius of ideas is what we are trying to celebrate and put to the fore as the devil that we need to exercise, as the elephant in the room that we don't seem to know where ideas ought to start and where they ought to end. And what is the power and potence of ideas and contestation of ideas? Then I also say the power of ideas battling each other in the melting pot of ideas, in the battlefield of ideas, in the arena of ideas. Even when we are talking here, somebody will say, I don't understand. I'm trying to figure out. But at the same time, if we are not in the arena igniting your mind, inspiring your mind, so that you can be the best that you can be without expecting government to make you the best. What would government have an interest? What kind of government would have an interest in you being the best you can be? If you are going to be a cleaner, you must be the best cleaner there is. Not because government wants you to clean, but because debt is saying, please remove me. If you want to go to the toilet, do so, but don't do so as an agent of another person or as an agent of government. Don't stop dreaming, because it is out of dreams that all these monuments we associate with human civilization arise from. It is when ideas start exchanging that we really know what is in other person's mind. Otherwise, it's futile to try to read the mind of another who is silent, who is afraid, and yet is a human being. We have learned what history has produced. Men and women who chose to say no when others said yes. Just for saying no, they distinguish themselves. So where do ideas come in? Some people virtually are benefit of ideas, or whatever ideas they have locked in their minds remain locked because they have decided that somebody else must think for them. And how dangerous it is to allow the human mind to start substituting yours. Then Gerald Goliath says, before political elections, our country must have economic elections campaign. The idea of economic elections campaign, which forms the backbone or myopia of our country. Country having a backbone. What kind of country would that be? Gerald, please educate us. Because you are writing something that comes out of you naturally from you. Nobody has forced you to write this. When you say myopia of our country, what idea are you trying to express? That the country itself is a living human being? Or what are you suggesting? How can we choose a leader? How can we, when you are going to vote on your own, if you are eligible and do decide to present yourself and then actually vote? How can we? Even in a family, in a household, you may find the husband and wife. The husband doesn't vote in favor of the wife, and vice versa. But they are all together, living together. They may be married for 50 years, but don't know each other. How can we then have this idea of collective thinking? Would it be desirable or not? When we look back to Baroness Thatcher, the late Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, and she said something poignant. She said, society does not exist, but individuals do. And she was saying government as one form of organization of human being does not exist, but individuals do. What did she mean by this idea? What informed that idea? We choose a leader to change the country. Yes, you are introducing another idea that a country can change. What would be the incentive of a country changing? From what to what? Yes, we grow up, we were all young one day, and today, age would say, I've done so many years. But it doesn't mean all those years I've used them to purpose. There are many people whose age shows something. But when you say, happy birthday, many happy returns, some people actually say, there's no need for me to return you into life, because there's no value added to me, but not to the country. I've never seen somebody saying happy birthday to the country, and the country says, thank you. You're a jolly good fellow, a country. So let's deal with this idea called change the country. What is that idea? So Gerald, inform us, share with us how this monster called a leader would be trusted to change the country when his memory is just human like you and me. I change the country, or I find change in the lifestyle of the person we called leader. I find change in the lifestyle of the persons associated with that so-called leader. I find no election having the power to alter the character and personality of a human being. A fool will always be a fool. Even after putting your X on a ballot paper, don't assume that will transform a fool into something. Yes, that person may know how to read speeches or to think about other people, what other people should do, not what the person is doing. Other people will say, do as I say, but what I do is my business with your money. That is the difference. That never trust someone who has borrowed your power to use it in your favor. Because your favor is your business. While the economy can change, economy does not need to change. We need to interrogate that idea of change. Change from what to what? An economy having an appetite to change, having an appetite to eat something different today. What kind of economy would change? Change for what? For whose benefit? The lives of the whole nation positively. What is this group called nation? Let's investigate the idea that is called whole nation. What is it? And then positively. What is positive? So we need to be able to interrogate ideas. So Gerald, help us so that we don't keep on repeating tired ideas. Because we're not tired, we're not retired. So let's invest in understanding ideas. Let's not us regurgitate ideas that are patently wrong, that are patently not well conceived. Since you were in the corporate world, what was the idea of the board of directors? Yes, board of directors are men and women like you and me, in whose name the company control and management is vested. Not that they know what is happening in the company, but it's an administrative structure that allows those men and women to sit on the board and pretend they're actually controlling something. Imagine you have a wife or girlfriend, then you started thinking of this idea of controlling your bedmate. Where would you start? Where would you start to control a human being? And what would that control mean? The purpose of the board is to be a human on the board, to give this fig leaf of control, but not the ostensible control of human beings, because human beings by nature are vested with certain faculties that come as a gift of nature. The faculty to think cognitively and act. The power to make choices. And I may pretend I'm at work, but actually I'm saving the world. But there's no board of directors that will stop me from doing that which I think is in my interest, including falling sick and getting a doctor's certificate, even when I'm not sick. That should answer why there is a need for a government. So we need to understand, yes, what is a company? What is this idea called government? So that we don't give it a life that is not capable of having. Though the framework should be designed to allow the government to be answerable to the people, the idea that government can be answerable, not human beings can made to account, that idea needs interrogation, needs a conversation. Because sometimes we are not having conversations. Where's Satawanda? The problem with the leaders of our country, that idea called leaders, we need to understand it. And who are they leading? A country is too big, Wesa. They're afraid to hand over to those. What is it that I hand over? A stick? A baton? And what does it have? Is it the right description of public power? Because if it's public power, that power is exercised in the name of the people, not in the name of the so-called leader. To those who are capable of transforming the country, yes, transforming. What does the transformation in relation to the country mean? That idea alone of capability, of capacity to transform, that the country requires transformation. And if it doesn't, does the country complain? What is going to give the country the voice that you and I have? Gerald Goulart says, you are jumping my articulation above why. I'm trying to have a conversation with you, Gerald. Where you find I'm jumping, please correct me. Where you find I'm inarticulate, please correct me. That's why you are there. I have no wish to change the way you think. What you have expressed is what you think. All I can do is what? Test that. Have a battle of ideas so that ideas battle each other. I have no benefit and derive no benefit in changing the way you think. You have come this far alone without me. Who am I to start at this hour to be the judge? All I can say is let these ideas find an arena where they can start battling each other so that at the end of this battle of ideas, those who were blind yesterday can sing Amazing Grace and say, I, and your name, or given name, whoever you are, a wretch like me, how come I'm given time on this earth and I'm not using it to unlock the potential that is in me? That I'm given so many gifts. Some of them I'll never use them in life. But the few that I choose to use, let me use them to the best of my ability. Not to satisfy government, but to advance the promise of life to me. And in doing so, I'm advancing the collective interest. Because if each one of us pulls their wagon, it means we go far than if some of us want to ride in the wagon called government. Then you expect the so-called leader to pull the wagon and you elect him without telling him, like George Washington said it so eloquently. I walk on untrodden ground. And he meant it. That don't put too much faith in my ability to transform you, because that's why you are alive, so that you must transform yourself, fully knowing that the government and its actors will claim on you, whether you like it or not. Michael Anderson is watching. Welcome. So this power of ideas, let's contest it. Let's deal with it. Because it is as old as human existence. When human beings started to look at each other. Imagine a doctor, and you are the first doctor in a village, and everyone comes to you, and you look like a pop star. And people are admiring without knowing who you are. And you have this privilege, this monopoly of being recognized at a funeral, at a wedding, at any function. Doctor so come and sit here. Doctor and so, and it gets into you. And you say, I'm a doctor. But nobody is sick in your community. Are you a doctor? What is a doctor? And imagine there was no government for doctors. Then a wretch like me, goes and takes certificates and manufactures them like counterfeit. And I put MBCHB. I'm Dr. So-and-so, so-and-so. I was away for 5 years. They don't know I was begging somewhere. I come back with a certificate. Said, I'm a doctor. And you look at me, say, that is the face of a doctor. And you believe it. Would you be safe if this just one doctor operated on you? But he's got the certificate. Unless the doctors self-govern, then you won't get the value in medicine. And you are as good as your weakest link. Because if that small doctor is the standard that practitioners are going to be subjected to, then you know medicine is gone. We need to reform and transform. Sure, that's Grace Loreto. In fact, I would say I need to reform and transform my idea of ideas. That's a personal journey. It's not a group journey. We can't force other people to reform the way they think. That is their prerogative. And those who call themselves Zimbabweans, they have to accept the responsibility for the last 37 years because they have been in that journey. They can't bolt out and say one man misled us. When you are being misled, what were you? A human being? A robot? A drone? Who are you in this drama that you want now to opt out and say, let's remove one man? How did he become one man? Who knows it all? Unless you stop thinking and said, one man must know all. And do you think elections can produce that man? And after voting, I expect this man to know everything. Gerald, yes, the nature of government is a government which endeavors to empower people. That idea of empowering people, Gerald, let's contest it. What does it mean? Empower. Which means the causation is outside me. I put people in government, then they lift me up so that I can see better, act better. Is that what we mean? That the government endeavors. What do we mean by endeavor? What properties does a government have that will result in you concluding that it has properties of endeavoring? It has properties of empowering. It is a property of having a relationship with people. And what will be that relationship? This inanimate human construct ends up having a relationship with you and me. What kind of relationship? If it does exist, describe to us, what is this relationship? What is the nature of it? Because they will be change resistant. Ideas tend to battle. Yes, they don't tend to battle because ideas are resident in the human mind, which is given to each one of us without applying for it. Okay. Condemnation comes into play. Leaders are criticized because ideas will be battling. Seeing the strength in weaknesses, that's what makes ideas worthwhile. Ideas comes in motion with harmony. The power to be the ideas person, the power to dream. I don't know what a dog dreams of. But what I do know is that a human being has this creative power. He can live with nothing. He can leave Somalia and walk on foot. And he arrives in Zambia. And they tell him in South Africa, he says, no, my heart, my spirit is in South Africa. Even when I arrive there and have nothing to eat, what I do know is that my spirit will be at peace. If I die there, I will die in peace. That's why they say rest in peace. So the human spirit is powerful. What ignites it, what inspires it, what makes it this driving force. And Victor, perform at your best and have an attitude to uplift others, not self-catering. The government is made up of people within the country. We are getting somewhere, Victor. That this government is not foreign to the human mind. That the government is the aggregate of the individuals. And it is the sum of the individual efforts. But it has no power to cause individuals to be what they are not. If the people lacks the right attributes, so will the government they form. You only get what you have put in. A government is the consequence of your action. It is not a government that exists independent of you. Munashe Ndengu, Politburo relationship. Tell us this idea of Politburo. What is it? Is it a human administrative arrangement? If it is, let's celebrate it as a human administrative arrangement. But let's not give it more value than what it is. So we need to be able to contest ideas. We need to be able to do something. And that is what we need. So how best can we be able to appreciate the power of ideas? And this is where we come in. And we all need to invest in this promise, the promise of life. What is it? And you and I, we need to be able to know the limits of life. Mambi, welcome back. And Thomas, welcome. Grace Rurezo, is there no sound still? So if there's no sound, tell us. I just interrupted. There is Thomas Gift Mnyafe. Leaders in any sphere of organization must have the gift from God to be able to assemble a winning team. Yes, you're talking about the gift from God. Are you saying that this gift is given discriminately? Is that what you are saying? Then Mituma, you are afraid of that government, which means no one will turn around the situation unto the government of a new government. But what I can foresee is the nepotism in the coming future. It's a handover and takeover. Then we'll continue to seek this rhythm on social network without making any progress toward the goals of freedom. Let's come up with the tangible moves. Yes, you may have tangible moves, but the great nation started as an idea. The great cities of our time started as an idea. It never started as a city in construction. Even before you dig the foundation, you must have an idea. And it may be the case that you want just, let's implement. What are we going to implement? We can talk as much as we want to talk and say this one, change this one, let's do this, let's do that. But if we are not prepared to think and invest in understanding and building wisdom around that understanding, then we got a problem. And let's deal with that devil, that monster in the room. Maybe your ignorance about power. The power of ideas, Gerald, is determined also by those in power. Let's understand this idea of power. What is power? How can it be democratized, if it can at all? Let's not put big words like power in front of us. Then, power is the right to exercise authority. What is this idea of authority? Can I exercise authority over you? Then once I do that, what does it make me? Does it give me the freedom? Because while I'm controlling you, it means I can't do more of the things that I need to do myself. The idea has got power to transform positively. It's denoted as a genius idea. If that's opposite, we can now talk of ideas battling with each other, because criticism will emanate to those who think their idea is undermined. A good idea can survive the test of time and the test of criticism. Mambi, but what is our real objective? Mambi, you are including me in your mind. Don't use our. My objective is to just express ideas so that you are ignited to do something. If you want a thinking president, first think of what government is before you think of this genius or the Messiah that you may have in mind. What should government be? If it's a government of men, then, yeah, thanks, Mambi, for shifting your paradigm. Because we often speak in the plural and forcing other people to think like us, when actually that's not democratic. Because each one of us are unique. We are thinkers in our own right. You may find me poor today, but don't count on it that tomorrow you find me where you left me. Because life itself is a walk on untrodden ground. Every one of us is walking on untrodden ground. And grace, not grace Rurezo, but grace, this amazing grace that allows all of us to enjoy the sunshine without knowing each other, to enjoy the same possibility, but without knowing who is the giver of grace. Because that giver of life is the one where generosity is. But that giver of life has also said, faith without work is dead. So life was never meant to be lived without you showing up for your own time on earth. No government can cure that. No government can spoon feed you. And gift, I'm sorry I keep asking, but we need a way forward. Who is we? Forward to where? If you don't know where you are going, Mambi, any road takes you there. Don't leave a station when you are not clear where you want to go, even though life is random. But formulate an idea of that which you want to move away from and to where, because you may end up worse than where you are, unless you are the change that you want to see. Don't put it in plural terms. You are the woman in the mirror, and the mirror never lies. It will show exactly what is in front of it, without favor or prejudice. Then Mambi says, but I'm watching you here, and the reason I said we is because I'm saying I'm saying this here on your life. It's not my life, because when you are not part of it, it's not mine. I'm just talking to myself. I don't even know what you look like, what you think like, but I hope that you on your own, you exercise your free will. You exercise your mental faculty to begin to think. And think we must. If we don't think, then we may be fighting our own shadows. See, Pondebele, you say, but we want, who is we? Zimbabwe. I don't know what Zimbabwe is. The idea called Zimbabwe. What is it? Does it have aspirations like me? Does it fall hungry like me? Is it human? Does it have the burden of having a bath? Does it have the burden of wearing clothes? What is this idea called Zimbabwe? Simple. Let's test it. Let's interrogate it. And the reason I've said we, because I'm saying this here on your, okay. So Zimbabwe, to be as good as it was Rhodesia, I don't know what it means. So let the government have come up with some changes. A government coming up with changes, government mutating into change. How does it work? Who is government? What is the nature of government, Sipo? Siponde says Mugabe. I don't know who this character is. Yes, he may be the prisoner, glorified prisoner, staying in State House for 37 years plus. Does he know what it means to be outside? Just walking, going to a hospital, finding there's no medicine, going to a supermarket, finding the prices have changed, wanting to withdraw money, finding that after the money is withdrawn, you end up with less money than you put in. And you don't know who to talk to. Does Mugabe know all this? Or Mugabe is just one individual whose mind and worldview is shaped, massaged, manipulated, and sometimes undermined by the people who are closest to him. What aspirations do you have, Mdara? The relevance of it, Mambi, that's fine. I'm not sure what my aspirations have got to do anything with the reality of life. But I guess you want me to be another problem. And then, why are you criticizing Evan Gerald? I'm the critique so that you think. If I allowed you to say everything that you are saying and it remains true in your head, then Amazing Grace is a wrong song for you. Because when you say I was once blind, now I can see. Don't feel I'm criticizing you, because your view is not held by you alone. I don't know who I'm talking to. It's not personal. I don't even know who you are. For all I know, you could be somebody who you are not. But I trust you are who you are, Goliath. Even if I'm David, take criticism as coming from a friend. I would just leave you on your own. Then I too much critique. If I don't criticize, then 37 years is too long for people not to pause and think. Because next year would be like the last 37 years if you don't take stock of what could have gone wrong. And you see now what you are doing is the battling of ideas. This criticism is the answer to your topic question. Mambi says glorified prisoners. Yes. Finish reading first. Now I'm saying it's a conversation. I'm trying to add spice to it, Gerald, so that we begin to think. Don't take it personally. I have nothing personal against you. I don't have the time to be personal. But I'm just saying I've heard some of these comments. That's why we're having this conversation out of frustration that people want countries to exist, want parties to exist, want Mugabe to be everything. 37 years is not too short. Then let me bring Mambi, because otherwise she will accuse me of trying to stop talking. So Grace says we need to believe in ourselves and our capabilities to influence ourselves in a positive way and to offer constructive direction and guidance. Amen. Hello?
Hi, Maswera Semdar.
Taswera.
Right. Let's carry on with our conversation.
Okay, welcome to the world of the talking people.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank
Okay. Okay. So let's see who has posted what.
you. Right. Now you're talking, now you're talking of this, I've just been following this.
Yeah.
Hang on. Yeah. I'm just trying to connect my phone as well. Right, let's carry on with this conversation.
Okay.
I'm just going through your comments and what you've been saying.
Doug Makonde, welcome. Doug is saying, thank you for speaking for the voiceless. Thank you for seeing value in speaking. How do you call guys? No, I'm not taking personal. I'm also interested too. No, Gerald, you want to join us? I don't know whether you are my friend or not. So I can try to aid you. Or you can call me if you are my friend. Then I add you in. So you can call. And TC are the mind cultivation. I like that word, cultivation. Mambi, do you know what cultivation is?
Vera, you tell me.
No, you are in the arena. No, I'm just trying to.
So, you know what? I'll just play dumb. So you explain everything.
Yeah.
Explain.
Okay. Gerald said, "I'm not add me in. I am full. I'm pregnant. About to. There's no room for another baby. Facebook doesn't allow that. So it's on my page. I don't know how to, unless I knock someone out of.
Why don't you add him as your friend?
I'm saying I've already exceeded my friends.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah, so I got a waiting list of more than what I have. So I don't know, Gerald, what can I do? Let me try to aid you and see whether it works. I've sent a request.
Why don't you take off those friends who are not active on your page there, and add other people who are more active?
Yeah, but then I become a little god.
Right, I see.
Because the person may not be active today, but tomorrow he wants to be active.
Right, okay.
Then if I had to create a country, then I remove people. I don't like
Right.
to kill people who are alive.
We'll go back to the government issue. We need to discuss that at length.
Okay, you tell me. Grace says, let's make it happen, guys. Grace, I think you'll agree that America is an idea. And its genius is founded in the idea that all men by nature are equally free and independent. That you cannot make me a subject of another. And the person who then wants to be the subject, wants to make me a subject, does not lose freedom. Because anything that you exercise over another human being, it makes you lose freedom yourself. Because control itself requires time to exercise it. Yeah. And as long as, Wesa, are you my friend already? If you are not, then it looks like I've sent a request to, let's see Gerald whether he can what? Then we can add all of us. So Mambi, you're gone.
No, I'm still here.
Yeah. So sometimes we think of these human creations and think and attach so much to human ideas.
Right.
Yet we are the living objects possessed with this power to think, this power to reason, and we have 24 hours in a day. So if I give up my 24 hours, some people don't even know what I'm doing. I'm giving up time to be here, and you are giving up time to be here. So when we add all the times that are here, you may find that we have 20 lifetimes or 100 lifetimes.
Right.
But what are we using it for? What are we using it for? The time that we are here on earth. Imagine we started building a community of reason, of common sense, of logic.
Right.
Just thinking logically, not thinking Mugabe.
No, we are not talking about Mugabe.
No, what I'm saying is imagine or reimagining Zimbabwe, where we said, hang on in 1980. What are you saying, Mugabe? Don't promise things that you can't deliver.
No, in 1980, I was like, what, 12 years old? You know.
Yeah, I'm saying is whatever age you were, don't trust another man.
Okay. So, right, you need to enlighten me on that one, you know.
Yeah. Never trust anyone to do the things that you can do for yourself.
Right. Is that the topic right now? Because you know what? This guy's been there for donkey years, and we all know that. Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. This guy's been there for donkey years, and you know, that's why I even asked. I'm sure you've been noticing, I've been following your live, platforms.
Yeah.
And I've been asking all the times, what are we talking? What are we discussing? Are we discussing politics? Are we discussing what? Are we
No, that's it. Even the idea of what politics is. It's an idea. Because you're already discriminating between topics. You know, somebody told me, if you ask, what is an entrepreneur, Mambo? What is an entrepreneur to you?
You.
No. What is the difference between a pastor, a businessman, and a politician?
Mutumwa Mawere, Pastor Ngomashi, and Stripe Masiwa. Blah, blah, blah.
No, those are human beings. Those are just...
Exactly, I know.
Those are just... This is just a mask we wear.
I know.
To save humanity. So all of us are in the people's business.
But then, you know what? Let me tell you. Do you mind if I say?
Yeah.
Right, hang on. You know, when I was growing up in Zimbabwe, I left Zimbabwe when I was probably 34 years old.
Yeah.
And I've been living in the UK for the last 17 years. And, you know, when the last time I remember about Mutumwa Mawere was when you were running businesses.
I know, Mambi, do you know the truth?
Carry on.
I was never in Zimbabwe, you know that. You know when I left Zimbabwe?
I don't know.
I left Zimbabwe in 1988.
Right. Okay.
I've never received...
So where were you all this time?
I've never received mail in Zimbabwe for the last, 30 years?
Right.
Yeah. But how many people think I was running companies?
I thought you were running companies.
Yeah, that's it.
Everybody knows about Mutumwa Mawere.
That I'm saying is, what you know, if you cared to understand me, how many people thought they knew Jesus?
Everybody.
But how many of them truly understood him?
Wow.
So, life itself, we think we know that the glass is half empty or half full. And we make conclusions on the basis of what we think the reality is. And you see me on TV, you don't know that is a recorded thing.
I've never seen you on TV. I live in the United Kingdom. And to be honest with you, the first time I saw you was on Facebook.
No, I'm just saying there are many people who were even working for the companies who thought they were working for me.
I'm only following you now because I thought probably you were running for presidency.
You see, that's again thing. Everybody wants someone to run something without understanding that there is no running. You are the author of your own life.
I see.
Yeah.
It's true, yeah.
Never allow someone to run you.
No, I'm not saying I'm running you or you.
No, I'm just saying is when you say run the country, you are running human beings.
Oh, okay, I see. I understand. Well, some
And-
other people have been running that country for bloody 93 years old. Excuse my...
No, I'm saying you assume they are running. What if actually they don't even know what running means?
You reckon?
I'm saying is human beings trust but verify.
Well, people have been running that country for bloody...
No, that's what we think. That the speeches they make is running.
So what do we think then? So what is it then?
A slogan is not running anything. I can't slogan here into a meal, you know that.
Right.
Yeah. I have to cook it. I have to wash dishes for me to cook another meal.
It's crazy. Very, very crazy.
I have to wake up so that I sleep. I have to go so that I come back.
Very crazy. Honestly, it's crazy.
So the tender said, who runs it? Let's talk about this idea of running tender. Tatenda Nyamadzao, welcome.
Then, who's running it?
No, I'm saying is let's talk about this. Then Shingi Makomi says maybe they've been walking. Running from where to where? State House. Yeah?
Mudara, why don't you run for presidency?
No, I'm saying is Mambi.
Right.
Mr. Mtuma, are you a capitalist or an activist? I don't know what a capitalist is, but tell me what a capitalist is so that I go to the address where this idea, this monster, this imperialist, this is a human eating person, this evil person lives. What is an activist? Take me there. McLean, Gubwe. Let's not talk about big ideas that I've never seen in my life. You are talking to me, not a capitalist. So talk to me. Don't give me labels. I've not given you one. I've said you're McLean's Gubwe, if that's your name. But you may not be what you say you are. But I assume you are who you are. So why do we have this tendency of giving labels to human beings? Why is my name not enough?
Mudara, can I ask you a question?
Mm.
Okay. Let's say there's an opportunity for you to run for presidency. Would you do it?
I don't know what running is. You are keeping on, Mambi. Impose.
You never know. Probably will.
No. I said imposing your thinking of what a president must do. Run from where to where?
A political party.
No, I'm saying that's what you want to exercise out of your head. But you still wanting to infest yourself with ideas that don't change anything.
Right. So I think you will never do that. From what you're saying, you will never do
No, I'm saying first understand what is a president.
No. A president is somebody like you.
No, I'm saying that is the wrong. Don't personalize it.
A president is you and me. I can be a president.
That's right. So don't accept another person to do that which you can do for yourself.
Okay,
Dara.
Yeah. Can you please sort me out so that you know what I can be a president? And
No, then you are saying that I was born to sort you out. No. No, I'm saying is find it within you to understand what a president is. But you keep on. You are not understanding what this show is about. This is about ideas, not personalities.
Right, okay, carry on.
So you want now, yeah, okay. McLean says, no, that's not that. It's a question. McLean, I'm saying, before you ask the question, have an idea of what answer you want. Invest in the question and answer. Don't invest in shooting and you don't catch. So when you say capitalist, I'm asking you, what is this idea? What is your understanding? I've read all the dictionaries. I still don't know what a capitalist is. I know what a human being is, but I don't know all human beings. Some of the human beings play different stages. Then the president elected to head the state. Again, tatenda nyamazao. Head a state. What is a state that needs a head? So, then Gerald says, when you invested in SMM, what was the nature of government? I don't know what the government is. A human construct, like a company. It's just an idea of men that they will try to come up with a majority. That majority is expressed through an imperfect system called election. And that election is not a character-altering scheme. It is actually a human experiment. It produces characters who may inflate their egos because you have exercised your right independent of them. And then you then have faith in these megalomaniacs. And you think they are acting in your interest. And you call them leaders. When they have no mechanism of knowing what you think, what your pain is, what your aspirations are. And why were you convinced that the nature of government will not have battles of ideas with the one which you think was in harmony? The government itself has no interest in ideas. But there are people, human beings, who think that wealth is a sin. And that for you to do well, somebody in government must be your shadow.
Oh my God.
There are people who think, yeah. Then somebody says Mawere was in good books with the government. Again, this idea that I'm in good books with this idea called government. Mambi, you know what is 1 plus 0 is?
Do you know, Mudaraka, I didn't even know a lot about you.
No, I'm saying you don't have to know. But I'm just asking you a simple arithmetic question.
Yeah, Carol.
What is 1 plus 0?
0.
0. Then I put 10 zeros. Yeah? I add 1 plus 10 zeros. What do I get? Yeah. So how can I have a good nature with 0?
Do you know, for the first time, Naska, I had to Google your name because I didn't know you, Mdara.
Which is better.
Yeah, I didn't even know you.
Yeah.
The only time I knew you was when I was way back in Zimbabwe.
You don't have to know me. And there are many Christians or Muslims who don't even know what Prophet Muhammad looks like. Sorry, yeah. And McLean says, sorry, Mr. Mawere, we are discussing. So what's the way forward in Zimbabwe? Zimbabwe is too big for me, McLean's Gupwe. I don't even know what is happening in my house. I think I'm safe, but I don't know. But I still remember you got good ideas because you are a businessman. I don't know what a business...
The reason I'm doing this is I'm very, very, innocent-minded.
Yeah, so I think then because you are a businessman, I like your ideas. You run a big company, SAM, I don't know, SMM. I don't run. Why do you give me the power I don't have? I only drive a car. I drive myself.
I'm a very innocent citizen. I live in England.
No, I'm not asking you. I'm just saying my cleans. Then Grace Rurezo, business. We must learn to look for business mentors and work closely with them. Success. Yes, you could. Let's build a community where we can learn from each other. Let's convert connections into communities.
Okay.
Let's build a community. That's a bank. What is a bank other than a store of value? Imagine we knew each other and stop talking about president or whatever, or these capitalist activists. Imagine someone was born to be an activist. I enter life as zero.
Absolutely.
I live life as zero. In between are stories of people I've interacted with who know I'm alive. The rest of the world doesn't even know or care whether I'm dead or alive. Then Shinki Makomi says, if they fail to act in our interest, there are mechanisms in place to remove them. Yeah, I don't know. Some people have run away with the baton, some say. And how do you remove them when they can use your money to bamboozle you, to think they're invincible, they are indispensable? How many people don't want to leave the car, even if they can no longer drive? How many people don't want to give up their keys to allow someone to move forward? How many people will not make way for anyone? That's human self-interest, Shingi. Human beings are self-interested. Once you take self-interest out of human being, what remains? It can't be a human being. So whatever we think, let's understand that even Trump has got children. Trump has got a wife. And when he goes to White House, the children will come in and out. But you can't go there. But he needed your vote to be there. So Peter Tembo is watching, welcome. Mambi Madaweni is watching, welcome. So I hope we have understood this idea called power. And I was just going to add, as I wind up, there is a person called Adrian P.S. Rogers. Is anyone interested in knowing about this man? Is anyone interested in knowing about this man? So when you have silence, then you know it's Zimbabwe. Okay, yeah. So Gerald said yes. Hector says yeah. So let me introduce you to this man, because he left some ideas. He died in 2005, and he left some interesting ideas. And I think when we welcome Gina, welcome Hector, welcome Toko. So let me post on the just the McLean's, yeah, so that we can learn about the.
I've been watching since I started this show. I'm carrying on with it.
No, I'm saying is I'm just. I'm just re-welcoming you.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
You are audible. So let's try the...
It's also this one is a program, you know. I'm not gonna go anywhere anytime soon. This one is actually my life.
Okay, Peter Lorenzo, you say a president is an officer appointed or elected to preside over and organize the... Yeah, we'll talk about the idea of presiding. Because sometimes we use presiding without understanding what presiding means. And Marshal Dao, welcome. So I'm posting now the little thing that I'll just... okay, it says Adrian Pierce Rogers, born on September 12th, 1931, and died on November 15, 2005. He served 3 terms as president of the Southern Baptist Convention, 1979 to 1980, and 1986 to 1988. He was also a Southern Baptist pastor whose church services aired on television and a conservative author. He was born in West Palm Beach, Florida. He entered Christian ministry at the age of 19. He graduated from Stetson University in DeLand, Florida, and New Orleans Baptist Theological Seminary. Rogers was ordained by Northwood Baptist Church, known as the Village Baptist Church in West Palm Beach. His first job as a senior pastor was at Fellsmere Baptist Church, a small congregation in Fellsmere, Florida. He performed his first baptism in the C-54 canal near Fellsmere. He was a senior pastor of First Baptist Church in Merritt Island, Florida from 1964 to 1972. In 1972, he became the senior pastor of Bellevue Baptist Church in Memphis, Tennessee, where he remained until March 2005. During this period, the church's membership grew from 9,000 to 29,000, and the church moved into a new mega church facility. Rogers was named Pastor Emeritus after his retirement in March 2005. Welcome, Mr. Chiangwa. Rogers was instrumental in the Southern Baptist denomination shift towards the right that began in the late 1970s. As he was elected president of the denomination during a theological controversy within the denomination known as the Southern Baptist Convention Conservative Resurgence. He published 18 books, and his works are featured on the internationally available radio and television program, Love Worth Finding, which is broadcast in English and Spanish. Rogers was also the founder of the Adrian Rogers Pastor Training Institute for Ministers, which is currently headed by his widow, 2 sons, and granddaughter. In November 2005, Rogers contracted pneumonia of both lungs as a complication of colon cancer treatments and died following a period of mechanical ventilation at the age of 74. So now let's talk about why this man is...
He died at a very young age.
Yeah,
very young.
Yeah, he died younger than others.
Very young.
But he didn't die young.
He was young.
Because we are all aspiring to be like him.
Mr. Mutuma.
Yeah.
74 is really young.
Get there first. Then you can tell us how it was.
Can you hear me?
I'm saying get to 74. Then...
Okay. Right. Can you hear
I can hear you.
Okay. I'm only 50, but you know what? I don't want anyone dying at 50, 74. It's really young age.
Oh, okay. So what are you saying?
He was young.
Then what is the point?
He died at a young age. Simple.
Okay, so I think you are making a fundamental point
Thank you.
That-
Thank you very much.
that you are the new God.
What? You good? No, not. Come on. Stop it.
Okay, I'm trying to post some.
Oh my God.
Okay,
Oh my God, you God. Oh, Goddess, I suppose.
okay. So I've posted now what he is remembered for. What this man is remembered for, so that we can understand the power of ideas. Okay. He said, you cannot legislate the poor into freedom by legislating the wealthy out of freedom. Left to Mena Degu, welcome, actor. So, do you agree that you cannot legislate the poor into freedom? Yeah?
Okay, I'm coming.
Okay, are you listening, people out there? Do you agree that you cannot legislate the poor into freedom by legislating the wealthy out of freedom? So Grace said yes. Mambi, do you agree?
I totally agree.
Hmm?
I totally agree.
Okay. So we don't have a communist here.
Oh my God.
What one person receives without working for, another person must work for without receiving. Do you agree that what one receives without working for, another person must work for without receiving?
No, I don't agree. No. I don't agree.
Okay, let's hear your communist ideas.
No.
So let's hear your communist ideas. Huh? Mambi, you don't agree?
No.
So tell us why you don't agree.
No, you have to work for everything.
All right. The government, do you agree that the government cannot give to anybody anything that the government does not first take from somebody else? That if the government does not rob anybody, it can't give that which it has not robbed.
The government is always robbing.
So Abina says, no, I don't agree.
Governments are always robbing somewhere, somehow. You know? They are always doing that.
So those who don't agree, you have the obligation to say why you don't agree.
No, I don't. I don't agree with that. I live in, you know what? I live in Britain. I live in England. I've been here for the last 18 years. And I do not agree to what this is all about, you know.
Tell us what you don't agree with.
You know, I come across people who are so lazy.
No. The statement says the government cannot give to anybody anything that the government does not first take from somebody else. So think before you say.
No. The government Britain government has always been giving to people. No, I don't care. But, that's what I think, and I hate it.
No. That guy, I think Abina says money that goes into government does not always come out.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
So,
I came into this country.
but whatever the government gives, it must come from somewhere. When you say hashtag fees must fall, you must know that someone's taxes are rising.
I've been in this country for the last, 18 years. I came here, went to school, studied and did a master's degree, everything, but you know what? I hate people who getting things for free.
No, I'm saying you're making a separate argument, Mambi. Let's just stick to the script so that we learn.
Okay.
When half of the people get the idea that they do not have to work because the other half is going to take care of them, and when the other half gets the idea that it does no good to work because somebody else is going to get what they work for, then, my dear friend, is the end of any nation. You cannot multiply wealth by dividing it. Do you agree that you cannot multiply wealth by dividing it? You cannot multiply a cake by cutting it.
I totally agree.
Okay, Douglas Mkize said robbery is different from taking that which you have not worked for. What is robbery, Mambi? But I think Douglas Mkize says that is wrong. That somebody takes your taxes and goes for medical care somewhere else.
Exactly, yeah. Exactly.
Hmm?
Yeah. Innocent people have a consequence of medical care overseas. Nana Singapore also.
Yeah. So everyone must work, Abina says.
Mm-hmm.
So, and TCA says, you don't have to take from the rich to make the poor rich. That's why nationalized companies taken over by government to give the poor become bankrupt. I think we should make it difficult for the poor to rule. The poor are not entrepreneurial. They are simply selfish.
But in Zimbabwe, which poor? You know what? People around the country. Hello, Mdalo. Hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
The people running the country are very rich people.
I don't know what you mean by running, but you continue to use that word.
Yeah, because you know what? Because from 1980 up to now, these people have been running the country.
No, you continue to use that word without restraint. I don't know.
But it's true.
I don't know what running is.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
These are people who've been in government.
Yeah, we've been in government, yeah. That's a better term.
Yeah.
We've been working for government.
You know what? These people came into power in 1980, and
Yeah.
I think I was only 13 years old.
Yeah.
So, these people have been there forever.
And the point you are making?
My point, gosh, you're just trying to, trying to make me feel bad, yeah?
No, because if you feel good on this hot seat,
I don't.
That's why you must be afraid to talk when.
I don't. We want everybody to be free.
Okay, that's a wish or a slogan.
Yeah, we want fresh change.
Who is we? Because you keep on using the we.
Support ZANU. Listen, Dara, listen. I don't support ZANU. I don't support. I'm not a political person. I've never been a ZANU person. I don't even live in Zimbabwe.
Okay, so you are not a political person.
No.
And who is a political person to you?
I want a complete change in the way our country is run. I want a complete upheaval of everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
We want a new change.
okay.
We want to be happy.
So, I think you got a monopoly of thinking, is it?
No, I don't.
Because there are many things that you
What
want.
do you think I've got a monopoly of thinking?
Because you're saying we, and then I don't know the
The
way.
way is always termed like everybody. You know,
No, but don't think of people, because there are people who are just trying to make ends meet. They just don't care about who is in government, who is not.
It's not a matter of being we. It's a matter of, trying to be respectful.
No, yeah, but what we are trying to do in this power of ideas is for us to be able to invest in ourselves
Right.
as individuals, rather than create this idea of a
But
thing.
think we, is it wrong, Dara? We always address ourselves as we.
But that's what we're trying to be sensitive to, that maybe we ought to watch what our words are saying.
It's the right platform to say we.
No, I'm saying is all I'm trying to say is let's try to invest in a new idea.
Right, okay.
Yeah, so that we don't we just the individual.
Okay.
Individual is the driver of change. And then TCR says that's why I think we should make it difficult for the poor. Yeah. Then Chitate, welcome. I think she's trying to say that these guys have become permanent professional seat holders, and without them, we can't take the nation anywhere else. Because let's understand what power is. Let's understand what government is. Because some of us think we do, and actually we don't. So I think we have got what Dr. Rogers said. I don't think there's any dispute to what he was trying to say. Would you agree? Mambi is gone. Mambi. Okay, Bongo M. Bonks M. Or Mawera, I need us to focus on a part of what you're saying, if you will allow me. Go ahead, Bonks. We are all ears or eyes. Bongs, we are waiting for you. Okay, we don't seem to get any other comment. We need to have a relay system of leadership where we groom the upcoming as the older generation steps out. Okay, do you think age has something to do with wisdom. Age has something to do with leadership. Government is for the people. It might to serve the people, but they want to hold on to power and forget about people and enriching themselves, I think. Abina, if you were in government, what would you do differently? When you look for someone to hire, would you go for a lottery scheme? How would you know people? And Bong says, we don't have that at this point. What happens if the older are voted out of power? Is it a question of age or us trying to invest in a better understanding of what government is and ought to be? Do we want a thinking government? Do we want government to have ideas? And when you talk to people, Abina, do you get a sense that people actually want to listen, want to have one view? Or you get an idea that people are people? Some just don't think about big things. Some don't want to be bothered. Some just think the future will take care of itself. Some just want to focus on their limited universes, that my life and the people around me is what counts. Do you get this sense that if we were all thinking the same, poverty will go, unemployment will go, inequality will just disappear? What will make one work harder than another? Imagine we elected people who can change our lives. Wouldn't we all want to be in government? Yes, Abina, people are people. That's what we are trying to do here, to just deal with ideas first, understanding that human nature itself is complex. And government is a human construct. Government itself can never be bigger than the people that put it in its place. Why is it not possible in our country to have limited terms of power? You limit the terms by being able to vote them out. Even if you were to limit them, you still get one following another. At the end of the day, you may end up with a series of what? Disasters. Let's understand what it is that we want our government to be for. Chitate says, a government should be by us for us, and our concern should be furthered by a government. The government has no ears. Chitate, where does the idea of a thinking government, a government with ears, come from? Elected MPs should push our ideas, thoughts and rights. How do you achieve this? When a person goes to parliament after getting your vote, he disappears with the vote and comes back after 5 years. Then Peter Rurezo says, Roger had great ideas truly, but I do disagree with him on this one. I do believe that if the global economy is distributed fairly, who is going to distribute fairly? Abina, would you want a world where you work hard, someone comes and harvests what you have worked for and calls it fair? All the people you see, some of them work hard for what they are. And you are saying hunger, starvation, and poverty will be easily eradicated. What is hunger? What is starvation? What is poverty? What causes these ills? How can they be eradicated if eradication is the correct word? On a capitalist, who go against this reasoning. What is a capitalist? What is the reason you are saying? That hunger can be wished away? That what you work for must be somebody's business? See, Tisia, the power to organize it, what is needed to dislodge. Don't dislodge anything. Organize yourself. They always say, the people who have no power, their power lies in organization. The only power people who don't have power is the power to organize, not agonize. To dislodge a stagnant, repressive, pseudo-revolutionary. How do you remove a government if a government doesn't exist? Maybe. What if it exists? How does it exist? With Zimbabwe's case, it's a bit tricky because institutional security are partisan. There are no institutions that can exist without the individuals. Say so and so, and so and so is a problem. Then let's talk. KT Mshangwe Maroa, a government with ears should be composed of even representative of all interest groups within the population. I don't know how you achieve it. Representative democracy is expensive. It's not automatic. Proper governance will eradicate poverty. Hey, Bongs, I don't know where you live, which is a problem in Africa and Zim in particular. Governance, eliminating poverty, will you get the government you deserve? You don't get a better government because you wish one to be. Abina, government making people to lose it. No. Government is not listening to people. I don't know, government has got ears to listen. Government has eyes to see. Take me to that address where the government has got eyes. What kind of government is that? Let's deal with what we know. Let ideas contest each other. Let us not use our limited imagination to create a new reality that government has got eyes, government has got ears, government is a thinking thing. Let us invest in understanding what government is and what government is not. Let us be the change, not assume that government will change because we wish it to change. So I think for those with ears, as we wind up this show, I hope you have learned something. The only purpose I had is just to ignite you, to think, ignite you, to maybe be the repository of that which you want to see. Be the bank. How best can we use this conversation? If we understand how complex, by me being able to critique and you give an idea, and it appears as if it's personal when it's not. How best do we celebrate this culture of interrogating ideas so that the best idea can come out of us, so that we don't become lazy thinkers, we don't become a people that allows other people to define and shape the character and personality of us. Whether we elect them, we look up to them, is it just and fair to allow yourself to be subordinated to another just because you are looking for a leader? Is it just? Is it fair? Do you really want a thinking government? If you do, who would create it? Would it be the responsibility of the creator to create these monsters who then become know-it-all, do-it-all? Or we're just looking at mortal, fallible human beings? We have seen great emperors come and go. We have seen evil people visit government offices permanently. We have seen bad people come into government and use government to derive a living. Under our watch, in broad daylight, they have done it. Government is representative of the people from whom they harvest ideas and strategies to eradicate poverty. A person who is in government also has dreams. Sometimes those dreams don't include you. And don't expect another person to give up something so that you become somebody. You are you. Don't expect government to be the solution provider. Let's imagine Zimbabwe, reimagine Zimbabwe, and see whether this idea of Zimbabwe lives up to the human spirit. And what is the human spirit? What makes us human? Governments giving us the humanity that is inherent in us? Do we need this walking government that can move from poverty to wealth? If so, what kind of roadmap would that be? What kind of pathway would that be? Would you really want somebody locked in government offices dreaming about you when they are looking for someone to employ, to be a minister, to think about you? A person they don't even know, who has not been revealed to them.
Exactly.
Do you also care to appreciate the limits of life? That what we know to be real is what only has been revealed to us. And if there's no revelation in life, it means the other person doesn't exist. However smart you are, however gifted you are, if you are not visible, you will not be known. Anyway, and the nature of state power is to limit the freedom of the office bearer. Imagine a president just deciding to go to a nightclub and arrives there. What kind of chaos can you imagine? What kind of disturbance can you imagine? Yet we imagine the life of a president to be something that it's not. Because we have never been there. But those who have been there, they don't have the courage to tell us it's not all that it looks like.
You are very right, Mdara. You are very, very right.
And we then build this idea.
We don't know. We've never been presidents and we will never be presidents and we don't know.
So if we don't know, let's accept our ignorance. And when we choose a president, let's also choose in ignorance that the person we are choosing does not know me, will never know me. And even if I wanted to be known,
Can I just say something?
Okay.
Yeah. It's going to be very tricky because you know what? When you choose somebody, you don't know them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like right now.
It's like choosing a husband or wife.
I don't know you.
Yeah. It's like choosing a husband or wife.
Exactly. I don't know you. I've never met you. But the only thing I know is I've known you through social media. Well, not social media, I'll be lying. I've known you when I was way back in Zimbabwe, when I used to read about Mutuma Mwere this, Mutuma Mwere this. I don't know you.
That's why that's the magic of life is you don't have to know me. You don't have to know me. You have no obligation to know the universe. Just know.
So that's the same like politics.
Yeah?
It's exactly the same like politics.
Yeah. So how many people think they know you when they don't know you? But how many politicians they become the caricature of what people want them to be. They become knowledgeable about the things they don't know anything about. Just to pretend. You ask them about nuclear physics, climate change, whatever, and they pretend they know it. Instead of just saying, I don't know. And my business is not to know everything. My business is not to solve your problems. But you must solve your own problems. I am the biggest cheerleader. If you do well, you know what Jesus said? Jesus said, if two or more gather in my name, I will be there. But don't phone me. Don't look for me. I won't give you an address. Because if I give you an address, you are not going to leave that address waiting for manna. So you are on your own. Get that point clear. There is no salvation from anybody. Jesus left people with no leader. But what he left were experiences of being alive. But how many of us want leaders to be this superior, high-heeled shoes? Imagine I become taller because I'm wearing high-heeled shoes. And who has given me those shoes? Human beings. They elevate me. So, when we know each other, let's know the little environments that we are in. Let's create the new communities, the banks of hope. Not a government of no hope, of hopelessness. Then we spend our time creating this fantasy of this homogeneous, feel-good aggregation of human beings who are free-spirited, free-thinking, confused, irrational, subjective, nepotistic, corrupt. And then we say we're building a nation by imagining a world that doesn't exist. Not knowing that sense is not common to all. Logic is not common to all. Reason we are given as part of the gift of nature. We can make choices. And choices we must make. And if we make a choice today that we... Hello?
So funny. Oh, God.
Yeah.
I lost you there. So funny.
Okay. So let's Finally, we have grace. Don't look at government as solution or a provider. Let's work hard and be ourselves. So true, say. At least I've got one follower. Capitalism is the only way. I don't know what capitalism is, and I don't know what the only way is. What I do know is life is no one way. We are all going to die, but we don't have to follow a path that you think is the best path. It's biblical. You reap what you have sown. That I can agree. A harvest starts with a seed. If there's no seed, there's no harvest. There is nothing sinful about being a capitalist. I don't know what it is. I'll never be somebody. If I'm old, I'm still the same person who was young. I don't change to become...
Well, we were all young at some stage.
Yeah, so I don't mutate into this label called capitalist. You know, I had a funny story. My friend Denzel Washington, the actor, I meet with him. We are at the lobby of a hotel, and I was going to a dinner, a gala dinner, wearing a suit, tie, and yeah. So he says, "Where are you going?" I said, I have to go to a dinner." I said, "What are you doing?" He says, "No, I'm not doing anything tonight." So I said, "Let's go." He says, "No, I'm not dressed." To what? I got a tracksuit. So I said, "Yeah, what's the problem?" He says, "No, I can't go there. I think there are people who are invited." I said, "I'm going with you. I'm invited." He says, "No, but the way I'm dressed." I said, "If you go there, they won't look at your dressing. There are people who have to be dressed to be noticed." Denzel. I have to dress up because I'm also an actor. When I arrive there, I'm acting. So there's no one with a monopoly of acting. Just some of us don't get paid for that act in the form of acting on a movie. But life is a real time movie. It's a reality movie. Sometimes we don't take pictures. We don't take videos. But what is life? It's just a role.
You're very right there.
From birth to death.
That's a very right statement there. I totally agree with you.
So let's not complicate it by assuming that someone's life is better than ours or ought to be more enlightened than ours.
Am I still there? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, good.
And KT Mashangwe Maroa, the legislative structures are supposed to function as guidelines that guarantee success. I'm not sure. What I've seen is MPs are human. Sometimes they're looking for change. Instead of looking for change, they're looking for cash as change, not change as change. Basically, ideally, no economic policy will work effectively if it is applied to a population that is not conditioned to sustain it. I don't know, you're using big words, Mshangu.
Oh my God.
Let's not use big words where human beings are concerned. Just accept our randomness.
Probably you use big words as well, so people are trying to emulate you.
But the bottom line of those big words is just we are human beings.
Exactly. So what I'm trying to say is, people are trying to emulate you because they think probably they should be, in your circle and in your status or your class. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but that's the death of a nation.
Yeah, people don't know. People go out, Torama dictionary. Let me be like Mutunga. Let me read this.
Then they're shedding.
People just have to be simple and straightforward.
Yeah, they just have to be themselves.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I think don't trust somebody who uses big words, then you think they think better than you.
Do you use big words? Probably you do.
Yeah, but I don't go out manufacturing ways that are not in my mind.
And then people are trying to emulate you, like I said.
No, that's what I'm saying is, don't be me, be you.
I'm not talking about myself. I'm talking
No,
about
no, I'm not talking to you. I'm saying everybody must be you.
You know, people are trying to emulate and, you know, go out of their way and, you know, pick up these big words and dictionaries and you know what?
But they're attempting. I think big words give you stature. That's why we go to school to create this monopoly of ideas. So it's not bad anyway. Human civilization has seen power imbalances based on bullshit.
And then other people think that probably if they do that, you know what? They're going to
Yeah,
match you up.
No, but fools will vote you into power. Or whatever
Where are we
idea. Huh?
Where are we now?
I'm saying is fools will always gravitate towards an oasis of knowledge, thinking that they can drink from that oasis when there's no water there.
So who are the fools?
We are the fools.
I'm
Because we trust other people to do that which we can do ourselves.
Are you going to go for any political party?
I'm saying you seem to be someone who left Zimbabwe but never left.
I always ask you this question, and you know that.
No, I'm saying is,
You know
please,
that very well.
please be the best English woman.
I live in England, but it doesn't make me English.
Yeah, okay. So whatever you are, you are in England. Be like Sister John Rhodes, who arrived in Africa and became an African. Okay, how have we failed to generate revenue? I don't know. Who is we now? KT Mshangwe. Please, when you use we with me, please make sure that you remove the we and put the I. Because while you may have failed to generate revenue, it doesn't mean everybody's in your condition. And Grace says, let's learn something from Mr. Mawere. Business, please. I think that's, yeah. Business, my friend who died a few years ago, you know what he told me, Grace? He says, we are all in the people's business. There is no one who is a business person. Because without human beings, what is business? Imagine in the animal kingdom with an invoice. Whose voice is going to be in that invoice? So Grace, business is about people. And we are in the business of people. And the same person is a husband, the same person is someone's son, daughter, the same person sleeps and wakes up. So I think let's celebrate our humanity. And Hector Munyanyi, we don't have to know the government because they will never know us. In such a way, how can we have a proper nation when we don't know who is who? I think on that score, let's invest in knowledge. Let's invest in ideas. Ideas are never poisonous because we have the power. We have the power to create the future that we want to see. And I think working together, we can negotiate the kind of future that we want to see. And yes, we can, because we have the power deposited in us. We don't buy that power. We don't buy freedom. We don't buy liberty. We don't buy the right to pursue happiness. We don't buy life. Everything else we can do, but life we can't buy. Liberty we can't be given like toothpaste, where somebody squeezes liberty. Then you say, hi, liberty. Then they squeeze again. You say, hi, more liberty. Either you are human or you're not. And every human being is stoked. He's already impregnated with liberty. Then the right to pursue happiness. That is already in the quest to seek a higher ground. Whatever it is, that spirit to climb the mountain, knowing you're coming from the valley where everybody is there. So Grace, let's think about the ideas that you have put forward. How do we create communities of positivity? How do we organize ourselves so that tomorrow when we have this conversation again, we are more than the number that we were today? Because we have chosen to share how we have spent our last 1.5 hours or 2 hours doing. It is that giving up of time. Share the ideas. Take the link. Send it to your friends. Don't tell them what to think. Let them come up with their own ideas of the ideas that we're discussing. You may be shocked that within a week we will be something. We will be there. And we have to be the change that we want to see. Just sharing knowledge itself must be an end. It's not a means to an end. Shouldn't be. Because when you give knowledge, don't expect to be paid for it. Because that's your purpose. What you have learned is supposed to be shared, so that learning is a lifelong investment. It's an enterprise without a start and an end. We keep learning. And as we keep learning, even the ideas that produce the greatest monuments, those ideas must be known. What inspires people? What ignites people? How can we make what we're discussing here newsworthy? If we were to summarize the discussion, what would you say? Say it in your own words, not my words. When you do that, you will ignite your friends. So that today I have Mambi, tomorrow I have 5 Mambis. Like Jesus created a global corporation with no balance sheet, with no cash deposit. Nothing. All he left was if 2 or more gather.
What do you want to say?
Yeah? All he said, if you gather in my name, then I'm not dead. But if one person gathers in my name, then I'm dead. So Grace, tomorrow, make sure that you are not alone, because you have taken a link. That's why they've created these links, so that they are shared, so that those who are not part of this conversation can be part of it. So as we begin to think about the Zimbabwe that we want to see, we start from investing in the idea of government. We soon discover that the people in government who think they ought to remain in government because they want to give us the gifts of nature. Imagine someone wants to give you land, the land that he never got in the first place. Somebody wants to give you minerals, and he never gave minerals. And someone says, elect me so that I control access to the gifts of nature. And you believe it, and you think it was the plan of life. Then you have no one to blame but yourself. Because you have allowed yourself to be located outside the idea of what government can give and what government cannot give, what government is and what government is not. So on that score, I say I have said my piece, and Mambi, you can give us your summary so that we get out of here before midnight.
Am I still on live?
Yeah, so you can give us your closing remarks.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I can't hear you.
No, I can hear you. Just talk. Can you give your summary?
Can't hear you.
You can't hear me?
No.
Okay, let me call
Hear
you.
anybody.
You can't.
I've lost everybody now.
We can hear you.
Oh gosh.
Can you speak?
I've lost everybody now. I can't hear nothing. Anyway, all I can say, if you guys can hear me, is thank you very much. It's been a good platform. But I can't hear you guys, and I'll catch up tomorrow. Sorry, I can't hear nobody. Thank you, Mr. Mutuma. Thank you so much. It was.
Thank you, Grace. You are right. Mambi?
Hi.
Yeah, no, just wanted you to give your closing remarks.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you for calling. My closing remarks is, it's been so informative, and, we'll catch up again tomorrow. Unfortunately, I can't really say goodbye to everybody because I don't know what's going on with your life, and, I'll tune in tomorrow again, sometime 8 o'clock UK time, and then we'll carry on from there.
Thank you very much. And
we will argue, we will disagree, we will agree. Every day is going to be different, but I'm looking forward to all these discussions. It's not like I'm going to be agreeing with you every day. Every day is going to be different. So, let's go on.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, and good night to you, and thank you for this. And,
so
bye for now.
Good night to all. Wherever you are, life goes on.
Right, thank you, Mr. Mawere.
Okay, thanks.
Take care. Bye-bye for now.
Bye.
Bye.